A little tour through one of the greenhouses here at Strictly Medicinal Seeds. This is late January in the year 2018. Over here we have one of the main current activities, which is planting seeds. We have prepared a potting soil from various ingredients, including especially our own organic compost in these buckets over here, and a little bit of this Eastern Oregon white pumice, 3/8 inch minus over here. This being some coarse, sharp grit, basically decomposed granite and basalt rock ground up. Over here we have one of our planting methods. You can see that I've got T5 grow lights set up, even though we're in a greenhouse setting right now where there's ostensibly sun during the daytime. Sometimes you don't really get that much sun, so supplemental lighting can be useful. This is a little screen that I've put on top of 4 flats. It's been manufactured to exclude rodents and birds and allow the screening to ride a little bit high up above the actual level of the flats. These were just planted yesterday. You can see how each flat is marked with its own impresso tag. That one's upside down. It says Mandragora officinalis. Those were some mandrake seeds that were planted in there, and you can see that they have the topping that is the grit, the coarse, sharp basaltic grit. Some more plantings here. These were some shatavari that came out from underneath the lights from inside, and they're actually growing on pretty well now. That transition between the lights inside and the greenhouse or the outside environment is always very critical and quite difficult. So then here's the seed planting project that was going on when I started doing this video, and you can see how 4 rows have been planted in this deep flat, which is about a 16 by 16 inch flat, and then 2 rows of each type of seeds. This is a Dominican sage here, and this one that hasn't even been covered up yet is the sage Danshen from the province Gansu. So then those would be covered in this manner and patted down, tamped in. See the little seeds there in the row right there. You get those covered up. Just barely cover them to their depth and then tamp securely. And that's the way to plant some good seeds, and then make sure that you've got your label that says exactly what you're doing and what the lot number is and when it was planted and so forth for your own records. Well, let's see what's going on. Over here we have some white sages. Since we started to put heat in this greenhouse, they've sent out new tops. The more whitish looking foliage is what was made last year, and then now the new green foliage on top has been produced since we got the lights going in here and got the heat going. There's an amla tree. Over here you see, well, this is how we mix the potting soil. Go ahead and mix it up in a wheelbarrow. Use a shovel. Okay, what are we looking at here? Okay, this is just a table of succulents that are my particular friends Most of these are sort of in the pet hospital right now. They're just being watched really, really closely. They've just been repotted, and it will be some weeks before they're even watered, because after you repot succulents, you don't really water them. And then after they begin to throw roots from the new, newly trimmed roots that were put in the pot with the new potting soil, after they begin to throw roots from there, and I'll be able to tell that by looking at the aerial portions. If the aerial portions begin to increase, then that reflects the increase of the roots now, doesn't it? Because as below, so above. So then, oh yeah, here's a beauty. That's a Gollum jade plant there. That's probably 10 years old. Those get really showy after a while. And right underneath it, there is a Namibian desert plant, which is really rather choice. Here's some more. And over here we go to the general, I would call these aloe tables, basically. Oops, I just knocked over a rake. Oh, there's some Wernias there. There's a Wernia keniensis, a Kenyan Wernia. Different species of aloes. These are all open pollinated aloes, mostly from South Africa or from the East African aloe corridor. Species aloes. I don't go for any fancy hybrids. These are all reflections of the way that these aloe plants would look in the wild in their younger stages, in any case. See if I can identify some specific ones. This is Aloe cincatana here. It's from the Sincat region in Ethiopia, and it is an IUCN listed endangered plant. You can see how very nice those are. Maybe a little later I'll show you some bigger ones. These are the smaller ones that we have for sale. Those are quiver tree aloes there. Those are pretty nice. Aloe dichotoma. Young individuals, obviously, they're tree aloes. They get quite large when they're grown, but those also are an endangered species. Here we have another South African plant. This one is the good old Umca geranium, the cold medicine geranium. Some aloe vera. Dragon fruits, that's Hylicerius undatus. Those make a nice tree-like or almost vine-like growth. If you look over here, you can see some more of them. It's kind of like that. Climbing up here through the Gelsemium vines up onto a cut-off vitex tree and curving around, snaking. Aloe arborescens. Okay, so these aloe arborescens here were grown from pups that came from the stem of the adult individuals. Plants like these ones right over here. That's Aloe arborescens. See, that one there just went into flower, as the flowers have just dried up on it. It makes a nice orange red raceme like most of the aloes. Very, very showy. There's some more of that Aloe cincutana right there that I promised I'd show you. Look at how nice those are. Incredibly choice. That one's just going up into flower. Look at that. It's going to have a yellow flower on it. Almost there. Almost to inflorescence. There's a Stephania there that's vining up into what this is here, which is kind of taken on this almost infinity shape I didn't do that. It just did that all on its own. This is a life plant. This is the Mpovu ziwa, which comes from the island of Zanzibar. And that's used as a poulticing agent and a cooling food by the local people. Bryophyllum. Those things are amazing. There are lots of different kinds of them. This is one of the most widespread varieties. They call it Mpovu ziwa. It bears its young on the edge. That's Swahili, my second language. Here's, for instance, just the job of the repotter, you know. Here we are just finding random plants. Those are Wernias there. And then these sticks here are Hytrophas. That's Euphorbiaceae. That's a possible source of biofuel. Then just a mix of, there's a little thymus there. There's an ephedra right here. Speaking of ephedra, you can look up here and see a little bit of my ephedra collection. This one here is a Zhong Ma Wang. I believe that's ephedra intermedia. And then this one is Ma Wang. You can see Ma Wang typically has the thinner leaf structure, and it's highly jointed and tends to bend at the joints and create this kind of almost disjointed appearance. And you can see how I've got that in pumice, so that the crown stays really, really dry. Because on these high steppes in China and Russia where the plant grows, it has very dry surface to the soil. These are all Burseraceae. They're a little embarrassing right now because I've just repotted all of them, and they all pretty much went dormant. But I'm not worried about that. You can see the leaves have dried out on a lot of them. These things often will drop their leaves and then regrow new leaves in season. And the thing about them is that they'll maintain their leaves for as long as the environment is moist, but then as soon as the environment goes dry again, then they drop all those leaves, because the leaves are, basically, to a certain extent, they're allowing water out of the plant. And so they'll drop those leaves, and then they won't make leaves again until there's another rainy period. Here you see some potted cacti. Those are Trichoceros pachinoi there. Those look really good. Those have been put in gallon pots and buried about 2 to 3 inches deep in very fast draining medium. And it's winter, and I'm not watering those at all. Behind there, some more Burseraceae. Those are actually looking pretty good. They did not go dormant. In fact, I didn't repot these, and that's why they are still in leaf. And these are Bursera odorata. Oh, the Burseraceae, or the myrrh family plants, are so fascinating. Look at the trunk on that one. That's probably a Phageroides. Yeah, that's a Bursera Phageroides. Basically from northern Mexico. This is kind of a little South American clade that I've got going on here. This one here is an Ololiuki. That's basically a convolvacea, or a member of the morning glory types. And then this one here is a Spidosperma. Those are similar to Yohimbe. They have cabrachine instead of yohimbine, but it has a similar effect on the male apparatus. It's a stimulant to the erectile tissue. And then these are boldos, and those are also South American, so I thought I'd put those there. There's a little aerial caudex of a Stephania there. That's a rotundifolia. You can see that they call it rotundifolia because it's got a very round corm on it. Here we'll go past these dragon trees. Those are the source of dragon's blood. They're one of the, let's see, 4 sources of botanical dragon's blood, which is an amazing antiseptic agent. It's bright red. You can see the redness of the trunks, and the leaves, not the leaves, the roots also attain a bright red coloration, and from that is extracted the dragon's blood resin, the antiseptic resin. Over here, that's Salvia divinorum. One of those is in flower right now. Let's see if we can get in on the flower. Okay, yeah, that's the flower of Salvia div. The plant rarely makes seeds, unfortunately, but it does propagate really easily from stem cuttings. Behind that, what do we have here? Oh, yeah, that's Amla, Amblica officinalis. Here's one that's got some leaves on it. These go dormant also. They tend to go winter dormant and just turn into sticks, and all their leaves dry up, and then they come back on again, usually the next fall. It's an absurd schedule. All gingers in here. Those are probably lesser gall and gall. Over here, population of Ashitaba. We really do concentrate on Ashitaba around here. Love it to pieces. These are 2-year-old plants, some of the better, bigger ones that we're going to make into seed-producing mothers. And then over here, 3 of the new cultivar, the red Ashitaba. We're calling it Riso red. Riso is Japanese for like a mysterious plant. And then this has the red stem on it, right? Then over here, there's a wasabi production bed. This is low-lying, and we have the opportunity to put some shade cloth over it and keep watering. And you can see on the surface there, I've been strewing some kelp, because wasabi particularly loves kelp, and so I've been strewing some kelp and kind of working it in with my fingers and removing the older leaves and just encouraging the plant to get as big as it can in this late winter setting, and then it will make these will be seed producing plants in the spring. Wasabi seed is really choice. There's a banana coming back in a big ceramic pot. You know, things like this, you need to cut away the old growth and compost it and make room for the new sprouts to come on. That's the role of the gardener. Those are Hesper aloes. These are different agaves. Here you have, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, this is a pipe hair, a wild piper, and that is like a piper betel, but this is a wild species, and you can see how it would be really easy to make cuttings of that. Look at all the different stems that it's made. Each one of those subtended by a little piece of root could be replanted as a new plant. Josa dream herb, and the Caryophyllaceae, that looks a little bit like a chickweed or something, doesn't it? Multiple cuttings of Southernwood Artemisia abrotanum. Those are just cut off of the plant during dormancy and then stuck in soil, and you can see how they're just responding. So lovely, aromatic. Here's the second year on Atropa Komarovii. This is Komarovian belladonna. You can see how the leaves are shaped very similar to a mandrake plant, and they're both in the Solanaceae, the nightshade family, very closely allied plants in terms of their constituent structure and the look of the rosette. These are bulbine frutescens. See, here's a flat from last year that's all like overcrowded, and so I was taking those out and I was repotting them one to a cell here. And you can see the roots are already coming through. It's been probably 30 or 40 days since I did that. And I've got a nice fast draining aerial part on there. Succulents are going to like that if you put a very fast draining kind of a mulch on there, up to like a ½ inch thick. Just sand and ground up basalt rock. It's very good. This here will be a Juglone bed, and the Juglone is just now beginning to re-emerge and vine out a little bit, but Juglone likes a very deep and fertile soil, easily drained, and so this bed has been specifically designed for Juglone, and Juglone roots have been put all throughout it. Here's a special flat. This is some wasabi just now germinating. So I planted that after the seed was dried in the midsummer, and now the second month of the new year, it's all germinating up in there. You can see the seeds just bursting and coming forth. And the ones that have already come up, and see how they were sunken down in the pots a little bit. Well, I worked those up by briefly depotting the seedling and putting more material in the bottom of the pot, and then reintroducing the roots back down in again, and then mulching around with some coir so that to support the seedling. And these kinds of careful manipulations spell success whenever you're trying to make something happen in gardening. You come in, you make some positive influence on the plants, and then you go away and you leave them for a while, and then you come back again. And it's that action and inaction, the sort of zen of gardening, that really creates really excellent results. Here's another raised bed. This is our smoothie garden. We're planting this for the purpose of having good greens in the middle of the winter. And so here, like about 10 days ago, we planted 3 rows of spinach, and you can see them coming up here. And then last night, Mage came in and planted the rest of it with diverse kinds of seeds, carrots and onions, and a lot of spinach and other kinds of lovely greens like chickweed. And I'm seeing cardinal lettuce, celery, cilantro. It's a smoothie garden. This here is our fish pond with right next to it. Oh, I almost fell backwards over something. There's a hose. This is I can't even get like back far enough to get the whole thing in the picture, but that's agave havardiana, and this was planted right next to the fish pond when I built the fish pond, and it's just gotten huge, especially since we started to heat this greenhouse. It took us from outdoor zone 7 to an indoor zone 8, and then with the heat more like a zone 9 or 10, and the agave is just loving it. And the base of those leaves is, frankly, it's about as big around as a child's waist. It's really quite humongous. Those things must weigh 30 pounds a piece at least. Okay, so here are the fish in here. Hi. Oh, and there's a mama fish right there. Yep, there she is. She's my friend. Let's see if I stick my finger in, she'll probably give me a kiss. Here she comes. Right over here. She's a little clueless. Takes her a while to figure things out. And she'll come up. Maybe she doesn't like getting photographed. Here, let's feed them a little bit. This is what they get to eat. They eat organic oatmeal. There she is. Now she's on the surface. Not that clueless. Once the food came on, she knew exactly where she was going. Oh, yeah. Well, we're nearing the end, really, of our little tour. I'm sure this has been very lengthy and very boring for everybody to watch. This is Salvia spathacea in flower. That's the California hummingbird sage. This really needs to be gone through to remove the old seed heads from last year, but it's starting to come on. There's another white sage there that's